I like meat. I'm pro meat. If you just eat steak or something?
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to Ferrigno Freedom Channel. I'm Dante Ferrigno, and for those of you who are new here, just want to let you know that I have been on a carnivore way of eating now for 3.5 years, known as the Lion Diet, and it has changed so many things in my life. If you saw the opening segment, you could see the before and after of me from my beginning to my best while I've been on this way of eating. And I like to come and talk about certain videos that I know talk about the carnivore way of living in popular culture. And as a matter of fact, the one we're going to cover today was the person who actually turned me on to a carnivore way of eating and how it has changed so many things in my life. But for all the information on that, if you're new here, please check out my first video, 125 Days on Lion Diet, and then you can see the odyssey I went on from there and how it has changed things dramatically in my life. And I've had hundreds of people tell me how it's changed their life. Well, I saw something that Jordan Peterson was doing in a video or in an interview that he was doing with Elon Musk. Now, I know a lot of you have already seen bits and pieces of this interview all over YouTube, and of course the entire video is available on x.com, but I wanted to come and talk to you about a part of the video that I haven't seen anybody talk about, and being a carnivore, I think is very apropos for what we like to talk about here on Ferrigno Freedom Channel. And in this scene, Jordan Peterson is talking with Elon about some pain issues, and I thought it was very interesting, the discussion they had. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick, and I'll give you my thoughts on it as we go.
So one of the things I've tried to do is to understand. So, like, there are a limited number of things that are undeniably real, and pain is one of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Like
so
my back hurts a little.
Yes. So that's because you were up till 5 in the morning.
No, I just have some injuries, whatever.
From wrestling?
It's from, I think, some childhood injuries that, although the final thing that caused some back and shoulder injuries was me foolishly fighting the world champion sumo wrestler and charging him at him at full speed to knock him over, which I did succeed in doing, but
you paid a price for it.
A very, very high price.
Carnivore diet will fix that.
The what, sorry?
The carnivore diet will fix that.
Look, I like meat. I'm pro meat. I don't think a carnivore diet is going to fix this particular issue. I think
my wife had an injury of 40 years,
okay,
and it resolved in 2
just
years on a carnivore diet.
If you just eat steak or something?
Yeah.
I mean,
all beef.
Sure. I'm a pro. I like meat, but I think this is I think I'll probably need an operation or something. But anyway,
I'd try the carnivore diet first.
Sure.
Anyways, that did happen to her.
Okay.
She couldn't lift her left arm above here. It took 40 years, and in 2 years it resolved.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was something to see. It also rejuvenated her physically in a variety of different ways that were quite miraculous to watch.
Yeah.
And that hasn't stopped. So that's a weird thing, and I would have never believed it if I hadn't seen this because it's so preposterous.
Sure.
Anyways,
okay.
I'm not going to proselytize about the carnivore diets.
Yeah.
So
I think it's interesting how Jordan Peterson talks about this diet. He'll bring it up in passing like that on a regular basis, but he doesn't often go into delve. But it was interesting to me to see Elon Musk's response to this. I read Elon's biography. In that biography, he talked about doing a low-carb diet, but then while he was talking to his biographer, he indulged in some very nice dessert, and it was like, yeah, he's playing the same game a lot of people are playing. And I had noticed he had gained a lot of weight at that point. He looks like he's lost a little bit of it now, but it looks like he hasn't made carnivore a consideration. And one of the things that I have been baffled by is the number of people who want to focus on eating vegetables along with their carnivore way of eating or eating fruits, because maybe they can just incorporate all of that. But I'm telling new people especially, like Elon would be considered new to something like this. If you're having problems that might require surgery or doctors don't have answers to, there are so many stories, just like the one Jordan just gave involving his wife and my story, where people are curing things that they were told there was no cure for. Or in my case, I was told there's no actual problem. What I had was leaky gut, and a lot of doctors won't recognize leaky gut as something that's a diagnosis. because they can't prescribe anything for it. It has changed everything. It got rid of my leaky gut. It got rid of a number of other issues I was having trouble with. I had high blood pressure all my life. I had erectile dysfunction from my late 30s on. I had GERD late in my 40s. And all of those things resolved themselves within weeks on a carnivore way of eating. And it's just been beautiful for me to witness the number of people who have told me the same exact things over and over, how a carnivore way of eating has changed their lives, whether it was dealing with cancer, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, a number of other autoimmune disorders, diabetes, gout, things that we were told are the total opposite approach to dealing with. In other words, doctors were telling us, don't eat red meat if you have these things. But it turns out red meat has caused me to be healthier than I've ever been in my life. And it's given me the energy and the desire to exercise my body in ways that I always wanted to and always thought about doing. But because I didn't have the energy and because my body was hurting from all the inflammation of all the foods and the things that I was eating that were either processed or full of sugar or seed oils, and I include vegetables and fruits in those processed foods because so many of our fruits and vegetables have been crossbred and genetically modified to be sweeter, more pest resistant, which basically means more toxic, and they're just not getting us healthy. They're causing things like the leaky gut that I had. There are so many people out there suffering with various ailments and illnesses that a carnivore way of eating could change. And like Elon said, who wouldn't want to eat meat? There are some people out there that tell me they have meat aversion, but I think there's got to be something in your head about that. And the reason I say that is not because I want to assume anybody is crazy, but I know before I started eating the Lion diet, which is ruminant meat, water, and salt, salt was one of those things I had convinced myself I don't like the taste of, because I had been told all the time that I had high blood pressure that I have to avoid salt, because salt causes you to retain water, and then water goes into the blood, and then it causes your heart to have to work harder. But they didn't tell me that it was the sugar and the carbohydrates in the food that were telling my kidneys not to let those electrolytes go. Which is what salt is. Both sodium and chloride are electrolytes, and your body will retain them if there are carbohydrates and sugars present. So those electrolytes will cause you to pull the water out of your system and put it into your blood, which would raise your blood pressure. But in the absence of sugar and carbohydrates, your body is just letting those things go. That's one of the reasons why so many of us have to add electrolytes or salt to our water as well as to our food, because we're getting enough electrolytes, but we're also releasing those electrolytes in our urine on a regular basis because our kidneys aren't holding on to it. So it's something that your body is craving. And it takes care of so many issues. For me to hear the richest man in the world sit there and say that it sounded like he was even unaware of the fact that, one, Jordan Peterson was doing a diet like this, and two, that it was possible to even do a diet where it's just steak, like he said. Ribeyes were a regular basis for me for over the last 3 years, and they will continue to be. But my point is that you don't have to eat the most expensive cuts of meat to experience the benefits that come from a carnivore lifestyle. And I say carnivore lifestyle because carnivore is not a diet. It's not a fad diet in the sense of all these things that people talk about. It's getting back to what our bodies are made to eat. We were made to eat meat. And when we eat meat, we thrive and we do well. And that's one of the reasons why in stories all the way back to Plato, we hear politicians talk about not giving meat to the lower classes because they don't want them to have so much energy and so much vitality that they take a stand for their rights. They're willing to be more docile because they're not eating the meat that gives them the strength and vitality they need to take control of their lives. Well, I'm telling you right now, if you want to take control of your life, if you want to address some of the problems that doctors are telling you that maybe you need surgery for, just like they're telling Elon with his shoulder, or maybe you don't even have a solution, but you know you have a problem, carnivore diet, and specifically the Lion diet, as Jordan Peterson mentioned, by going all beef, is a great way to go. And just as a quick reminder, it doesn't have to be all beef. Any ruminant animal will do on Lion diet. That includes lamb, elk, deer, buffalo, bison, of course cows, And there are other ruminant animals. Some of them are a little bit more exotic and not available on the store shelves. I saw a Facebook memories picture come up today, a picture of me standing with my wife from 10 years ago. And I was stunned at the difference. I'm still shocked when I see pictures of myself from the past. And I wonder, who is this guy with my wife in these old pictures on my Facebook memories? Well, I'm finally used to living in a body that I always wanted to have. And you can too. And you can learn a lot about the way of eating that changed my life by going to my website, ferrignofreedom.com, where I have all of my videos much easier to find than they are on the regular YouTube platform, because it's like they don't show everything chronological. They put them in different orders. I did make some playlists that'll make it easy for you to find what you're looking for if you're looking on YouTube alone. You can also find information about the things that I use to make a carnivore way of eating much easier, because it is a lifestyle adaptation that's required. I even have a place for those of you who have experienced changes that have been amazing in your life, where you can fill out a form to let me know how a carnivore way of eating has changed your life, so you can be in a carnivore conversation with me right here on this channel. That way we can share your story with the world. That'll get more people to realize exactly the kind of what's called anecdotal evidence. At some point, when you got enough anecdotal evidence, you have data. And there is a lot of data out there right now that shows what a big deal a carnivore way of eating has been for so many people. So be sure to check that out at ferrignofreedom.com. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Be sure to leave your comments in the comments section below, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
If we pay extra, could we maybe get some grease or fat?